You do everything right. You cut carbs, go to the gym, drink water, get reasonable sleep, and yet the belly fat won't budge. I know that's frustrating because it's not a lack of discipline, it's your body sending the wrong signals. You don't gain weight out of nowhere. There's a pattern happening inside, at the molecular level, that no one has explained to you yet. And that's exactly what we're going to unpack now. There's a mistake almost everyone makes. They think the problem is calories. So they cut more, eat less, enter an aggressive deficit. At first, it even works. Then the body slams on the brakes. Because calories aren't just numbers, they're information your body interprets in its own way. When you cut too much, it doesn't think, great, I'll burn fat. It thinks, danger, scarcity, I need to save. Then your metabolism slows down, cortisol rises, your thyroid hits the brakes, and visceral fat, precisely that most stubborn kind, gets locked away as an emergency reserve. The body isn't a calculator. It's an extremely intelligent survival system, and it responds to signals, not spreadsheets. Go ahead and hit the like button to make up for yesterday's dessert, and keep watching, because today we're going to talk about the foods that send the right signal to your metabolism to truly release fat. So let's start with insulin, because it's the key to all of this. Every time you eat, especially carbohydrates and sugar, your pancreas releases insulin to remove glucose from your blood and distribute it throughout your body. So far, so good. The problem is what it does in parallel. While insulin is high, adipose tissue literally locks up. The enzyme responsible for breaking down fat, hormone-sensitive lipase, becomes inhibited. In other words, with elevated insulin, fat burning is biologically impossible. And then comes the cruel cycle of modern eating. You wake up, have coffee, eat pancakes, waffles, juice. Insulin spikes. Sugar drops, hunger hits, you snack on something processed. Insulin rises again. This happens 4, 5, 6 times a day. Your body spends hours, sometimes the entire day, in storage mode, never in release mode. You step on the scale already knowing it won't bring good news. And it's not a lack of willpower. The hormonal environment simply doesn't allow for the results you want. The good news is that you can change this environment. And the 5 foods I'm going to show you now do exactly that. They stabilize insulin and unlock the system. First food, good fat. And yes, I know, for years everyone said fat made you fat. It was one of the greatest nutritional injustices in history. Dietary fat was the ally that was wronged for years, and now science has come to collect the debt. Avocado and extra virgin olive oil are the most powerful examples here. When you consume monounsaturated fat, the predominant type in both, it doesn't cause an insulin spike. None. Your pancreas responds calmly, glucose remains stable, and your body understands that quality energy is available. This completely changes the internal signal. Furthermore, fat activates the hormone cholecystokinin, which signals your brain that you're full. Result? You eat less in the next few hours without even realizing it, with no willpower involved. It's biochemistry working in your favor. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel now before your metabolism slows down even more. And stay tuned, because the next food is one you probably already have at home and completely underestimate. The egg. Simple, cheap, accessible, and one of the most complete foods from a metabolic standpoint. And yet many people avoid it for fear of cholesterol, a fear based on 1970s science that has since been widely revised. But that's a topic for another video. The point here is protein. When you consume quality protein like the egg, which delivers all essential amino acids in a perfect package, your body releases 2 very important hormones, GLP-1 and PYY. These 2 send a direct signal to your brain saying, you can stop, you're full. It's real satiety, not the kind that lasts 20 minutes. This is especially critical for those who feel their hunger break is a bit loose after 40, because that's exactly what happens. With the natural hormonal decline of age, satiety signals weaken, and protein is one of the most direct ways to compensate for that. But there's another role few people consider: preserving muscle mass. When you enter a caloric deficit without enough protein, your body cannibalizes muscle to generate energy. Less muscle means a slower metabolism, and then you need to eat less and less to maintain the same results. It's a silent trap. Protein interrupts this cycle. It preserves the tissue that keeps your metabolism revved up while your body uses fat as fuel. And speaking of fuel, the next food acts directly on your metabolism and your mood. Green vegetables. I know, it's not the most exciting item on the list, but listen up, because the mechanism here is smarter than it seems. The fibers present in broccoli, spinach, kale, and the like act as a physical brake inside the intestine. They form a kind of gel that literally slows down glucose absorption into the bloodstream. Result? No spike, no insulin surging, no metabolic lock. You know that meal plan you put together trying to organize the internal chaos, but that crumbles in the afternoon when hunger and fatigue hit together? Fibers are part of the solution. They sustain energy stability for hours, without drama, without needing willpower. And there's more. They feed the gut microbiota, which science now knows directly influences insulin sensitivity and even mood. The gut isn't just about digestion, it's also about signaling. Now comes the fifth food, which acts at an even deeper level, inside the cells themselves. The fifth food is fatty fish, sardines, salmon, tuna, mackerel. And what it does happens at a level you don't feel, don't see, but that interferes with absolutely everything. Chronic inflammation. Inflammation is the internal noise no one sees, but it disrupts everything. It's not the visible inflammation of a sprained ankle. It's a silent, low-grade inflammation that stays active all the time, fueled by ultra-processed foods, stress, poor sleep, a sedentary lifestyle. And it acts directly on insulin receptors, blocking communication between the hormone and the cells. It's as if insulin tries to deliver energy, but the cell leaves everything outside. Your pancreas responds by producing even more insulin, and more insulin means more fat storage, especially visceral fat. The omega-3 from fatty fish, especially EPA and DHA, acts as an inflammatory modulator. It inhibits pro-inflammatory signaling pathways, mainly via NF-κB, and increases the production of resolvins, molecules that literally resolve the inflammatory process. With less inflammation, insulin receptors start working again. The cell opens the door again. The practical result? More insulin sensitivity, less fat storage, better overall hormonal function. And when you put all of this together into a consistent eating pattern, something bigger happens throughout your entire body. Metabels, pay attention to this part because it completely changes how you'll view weight loss from now on. The human body has a basic survival principle. It only releases fat when it feels safe. When the internal environment is one of scarcity, stress, or inflammation, it holds on to everything. Visceral fat is literally an emergency reserve, and the body won't let go of it as long as it thinks it needs it to survive. Now the opposite. When you consistently provide quality protein, good fat, and fiber, the body receives a clear message. Energy is available, the environment is stable, there's no threat. Cortisol drops, insulin stabilizes. Leptin, the hormone that regulates energy expenditure, starts to function better. And your metabolism understands that it can use stored fat as fuel instead of preserving it. You don't need to eat less, you need to eat right. And the difference between the two is exactly what separates those who get stuck from those who move forward. In practice, how does this become a real routine without complication? So let's make this real. No spreadsheets, no calorie apps, no suffering. The base is simple. At each main meal, you ensure the 3 pillars: protein, good fat, and fiber. Scrambled eggs with olive oil and greens for breakfast. A fish fillet with broccoli for lunch. Half an avocado for a snack. This truly changes the game, not because it's a miracle diet, but because you're consistently sending the right signal to your metabolism meal after meal. And ultra-processed foods? You don't need to eliminate everything overnight. Just start replacing at the edges, one swap at a time. No drama, no guilt. The body responds quickly when the environment changes. Consistency always trumps perfection. One imperfect day within a consistent week doesn't undo anything. One perfect day within a chaotic week doesn't build anything either. If your metabolism is slower than a bank line, maybe it's just lacking the right stimulus, and some well-chosen supplements can give it that push. Click the link below and see what I've prepared for you. But before we close, there's one final point that ties all of this together. So let me give you a real game changer. The problem was never you. It wasn't a lack of discipline. It wasn't weakness. It wasn't a naturally slow metabolism. It was the wrong signal being sent to the wrong body, repeated for years, with no one explaining what was happening inside. Weight loss isn't a calorie equation. It's a constant conversation between what you eat and what your body interprets. When you start consistently providing protein, good fat, and fiber, you're not just swapping foods, you're rebuilding the entire metabolic environment. Reducing inflammation, stabilizing insulin, unlocking the fat burning that your body was holding on to for protection. Your body responds to the environment you create. It always has. Now you know how to create the right one. Go to the next video now before your motivation disappears, because what comes next connects directly with what you just learned here.